We give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. This is December 25th, and we're going live tonight because going into the new year, 2017, it's just some things that has to be said and some things that has to be discussed. And I got live in the studio with me today. I got live Brother Black. Brother Black, how you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling great today, man. Feeling great today. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. I'm definitely, man. It's not only are we saying, and I don't, and some people do, but I don't particularly subscribe. I subscribe to the gathering of family, but as far as what they put out, as far as Santa Claus and the whole paganistic and the tree cutting and the wreaths, and I don't get involved in all of that. You know what I mean? But talking to this brother enlightened me, and it made me want to do a show dealing with the way forward into 2017, so we don't carry old negative stereotypes and things that may have been done in the past. We don't want to present that forth into the upcoming year because we've been doing it too long. 2016, you know. So, man, Brother Black, what can you, or how do you feel that what we can do as far as moving into this next genre of time? How can we better ourselves and dealing with a lot of the economic pressures, or they may say racial pressures or injustice pressures, but to make sure that we don't carry that old baggage on into the new year?
Well, one of the things we can do is that we have to come together. And I know people say all the time, how do we come together as a people? Okay, the first step towards coming together as a people would be coming together, 1, physically, 2, spiritually. We do not have to put a name brand on spirituality.
Come on.
All we have to do is to know that a spirit is something that can be joined one to another. And if we can fathom that, we can actually produce a greater people.
Right. So are you saying now, when we say spirituality, are you saying that no matter what your religious belief may be, whether you Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, or what have you, you saying that we can have a basic common denominator that can unite us spiritually, or somebody say spiritually as far as the unseen? But are you saying that no matter your religious ideology, that we can come together on a spiritual plane?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying. We can still come together on a spiritual plane. And in this spiritual plane, there's no ruling said that we have to be of the same denomination to do that. All we have to do is to believe in spirituality, in that there is something, someone greater than who we are as people, as a person. There is a creator. There is the beginning.
Were you ready to go, man? No.
Yeah, we live. This live.
Did you want to take any food home?
Yeah, we'll see what we got.
Okay.
And live, we do this live. And we do this film, so definitely, man, we put it down. Like I said, we everyday people, man. We come and we keep it live. We come at you live, definitely. But we will continue getting into the topic of spirituality. Now, as far as spirituality, though, now, how can we, as I say, how can we fight off the negative, let's say, images or that energy that those who want to keep us disunited from coming together as spiritually? I mean, and they what I'm saying is they are masters at causing ruckus, right? So when they say, like you had the guy today who said Obama should die of mad cow disease, I believe they throw that out there so they can get a negative reaction from us. How do we not fall for the trick?
Because we know that throughout time, this is their makeup. This is the way that they've always come against us. to break us apart from one another by spreading negativity about anything that is positive to us as a people. So when we do have something that is positive to us, we must learn to try the positive aspect of that person through our hearts, through our spirit, and not just trying it through your flesh and looking through your eyes and hearing through your ears and taking the negative in from all the outsiders. Because he, our president, speaking of, is like you and I. What better person would I want to get my instruction from than someone like you and I? Especially when you believe that it's on a positive level.
Right.
When it's not on a level of destruction of others or even self-destruction.
So let me ask you this then, Brother Black. Let me ask you this. So are you now? We as a people, we know when you say as far as negativity, right? We know what the game is like. I mean, we've been there. We done that. You know, it's nothing that can be done in this what they call game, and what some allude to as being negative because of the destruction and the killing, death, murders, and the loss of lives and the loss of family structure. So that's been done. So wouldn't it seem like this would be a time now, especially leading into this next year, to rebuild, or a time of rebuilding, a time of, like me and Brother Loki would say, coming to common ground, or meaning enough should have been enough though, right? Or is it still?
It seems like it should have been, brother, that enough should have been enough by now.
Right.
We should have a movement forward in all aspects, not just between you and I sitting here talking, but there should be other networks out there.
Right.
Presenting something moving forward from what we have in 2016.
Right.
Preceding 2016, 2014, 2015, we have witnessed a lot of destruction to our own people.
Come on.
And some at the hands of our own people.
Come on.
But this has all come from infiltrating us within.
Okay.
And if we just take a little time and get the thing that destroys us is a lack of knowledge.
Right.
The thing that builds us is knowledge.
Right.
So when people can get an understanding on how to separate the two entities, knowledge is one word, but there's two parts to it.
Right.
You can get negative knowledge or you can get positive knowledge. These things that should empower us, we're taking it and allowing it to destroy us when we have people come in and infiltrate us from the inside within.
Well, how did we stop them? Or how did we let them bring their outside demons into our inner God or our inner self? Meaning, it should have been like meaning what I'm saying is, it should have been some kind of instinct to where we knew what they were coming with was negative, and we put up our guard of defense against it. How did it become so easily to where we ingested that negativity that was coming from the outside of us? Meaning we had to pick it up. What made us pick it up? Or it could be by curiosity. I don't know. But let's say, for instance, the crack that came in the 80s. They put that on us. Why did we pick it up?
I can tell you like this, brother. It was one simple 4-letter word. And it started way before the time of crack. Fear.
Okay.
What they subjected into us was a level of fear. All it takes is to find one person that you will need to destroy a whole nation of people.
Okay.
And this is what has been happening to us throughout time. It has not been of our own doing, but it has been of the oppressors of their doing to infiltrate just one of us.
Yeah.
If you take one of us and we could incite fear into us, and with the promise, one thing that a human mind has in common with another human mind is the instinct to survive.
Okay.
To continue to live.
Okay.
And sometimes we'll choose the wrong way to survive and continue to live by accepting what can come from the infiltrator.
Okay.
So
okay.
if someone infiltrates into me and say, okay, Brother Black, look, what we're going to do is we're going to have you go out and we're going to have you spread this false knowledge unto your neighborhood here about this product that we have, but we're going to make sure it's sold so it can start destroying your neighborhood first, and it'll bleed out and say, if you don't, there's a couple of things going to happen to you.
Right.
It may not happen to you personally, but we may take it out on your kids, or we may take it out on somebody that you love, and you won't be able to survive or continue to live. So that's a form of fear that cuts off your will to survive. So what you would do is you would put that fear aside and say, well, I'd rather survive, live today, and worry about tomorrow. But sometimes when we do that, you've already set the bomb off.
Right, and then so fear is ended, and you transfer it to other people.
That's
You're
right.
getting them to come along, and
I've asked myself a million times, how did we get here?
That's right.
And the only spiritual answer that I could come up with, without having the knowledge of 1,000 years into my head of writings, the only spiritual answer that I can come up with is fear. When we choose to absorb the fear and not sacrifice ourselves and continue to move forward, because when you take fear to grow something, you've actually stopped something that was positive.
Right, because you can't grow out of fear.
You can't. You can't do it.
Yeah, fear is something that has to be wiped out. Fear is something that was written of that how did they control us? They put fear into us as babies, right, in order to rule over us. So yeah, definitely.
And the opposite of fear is love.
Okay.
And if we bring forth,
but before you say that, let me ask you this. Well, what is the love that we need? Meaning, is it the love that's going back to our forefathers prior to pre-slavery? Meaning, is it a love out of a certain type of knowledge that allows the love to penetrate, and then allows that love to be acted upon? Because it's some message or some information or something is not hitting home with the masses.
Absolutely, brother. It is the love that comes from our forefathers before that precedes slavery. For what we know, some of the things that have been written, and some of the testimonies that have been given that precede slavery about our culture of people, how we truly loved one another as a nation of people, and one willing to sacrifice his or herself so that the nation may move forward.
Yeah.
And there were sacrifices in many different ways.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things. These sacrifices were done out of love and caring, because they wanted to see the nation proceed to move forward. There was a lot of sacrifices for us this day that were done per se in the 60s, during the time of Dr. King and some of the other people that were involved in that era. But they sacrificed themselves to a point that we could get here as we are, without bowing down underneath the rule.
Right.
Without allowing infiltration to come in to stop the forward motion.
Right.
But where we are right now, today, from what I see and many others see, that our forward motion has stopped. You take our president today. His family was a part of that 60s movement that brought him to a forefront to where he is, to show us that positive things can happen. Forward motion. Okay. So if we don't proceed into 2017 with something positive, moving forward, all that happened in the 60s, all that happened from 2008 until now was for nothing.
So you saying
it's
time for us to put up?
Yes.
As a people. We've been playing so long. It's time for us to go. You're gonna barbecue. You're gonna meal do.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right. It's time for us to actually say, I don't care about Joe, whether I like his personality or whether I like the job that he does. But what I care about Joe is that he is my brother. And what I want to do is I want to show Joe that there's a way that we can all come together and move forward, instead of me just disliking Joe just because he wears a different type of hat than I do.
So the mathematics in language Meaning, okay, Joe, if you do this plus this, then you should get this, though.
That's right.
And it's within you, and anybody can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? People been doing it for eons in time.
That's right.
So it's no impossible obstacles
Mm-hmm.
for us. It shouldn't be.
That's right.
Meaning, especially during slavery, what can they put in front of us that we haven't faced already?
And what we fail to realize that on the task of slavery is that when we were brought over on slave ships, we were not all brought from the same tribes. We all had different languages. Some of us could not even understand one another. Bro. But there was one common effort that once we hit the land in these Americas and off into the islands, when they dropped us off, there was one common thread that went through all of the African people. Is the thread was to survive together.
Right.
It was to survive together, and that they had to work together. And then once they learned the language of the white oppressors, they learned to keep our people in one accord so that we could accomplish and finish the mission. It was not that we had to separate ourselves and be different from one another.
Right.
But here it is again.
Right.
The infiltration starts. The white man see where we were going with it.
Right.
That we were trying to build ourselves up to become another conqueror or ruler in this land, and they sent another infiltrator in to separate us once again.
Okay, and we're going to, now y'all hold on to that separation part. We're going to go back, we're going to tie the separation into this next segment of what we're talking about. I interviewed a guy from Cameroon, and he said that in this small country, they got over 250 different languages. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they can't communicate with one another. Mm-hmm. Okay, now hold on. Now check this out. Okay, now you had the Tower of Babel, right? Mm-hmm. Now the Bible's saying, okay, they built the Tower of Babel to reach God. God upset, spread them throughout the land, and then He gave them different languages.
That's right.
Okay, well hold on. Okay, now our moon, right? Mm-hmm. Our moon is I forgot the distance, but our moon is up there. Because our moon used to be part of the earth. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to speak one language. So the scientists, or what they would say, God got mad, tried to kill us off. The moon went to 93 million miles away, turned over and dumped all the water back on Earth. That's why you got more water than you do land. Mm-hmm. But the moon checks the water because it draws it through the gravitational pull, draws the water back up to itself, and it keeps us. So it's this thing with language, though, is what I'm getting at. Language and separation. Right. You got the Tower of Babel, language and separation. You got languages now in Africa where a small area speaking over 200, and I'm just saying the country of Cameroon, not the whole continent of Africa, but just say Cameroon alone. Mm-hmm. And even Kiki was telling me Nigeria, they got so many different languages, they can't communicate with each other. Absolutely. And so, being in Houston, we had a different language at one time to where the North and the South side couldn't communicate with each other. Right. So what is this? And he knows this now. Let's say the enemy knows this, and he's using that against us. But what's this deal with language, man, and why we can't communicate and why we've been fighting each other to communicate? Is it because and it did say that I created different languages and tribes so you may know one another. Mm-hmm. But are we saying that we don't trust each other? So I got to create a different slang, a different dialect, a different language apart from where we once was together, so I can separate and I can do my thing over here and not allow this group over here to know what I'm doing, or can we put it back together where we can communicate, but we are divided?
I think, brother, I believe that the language separation, as it came to be, we're not able to understand one another. It is a natural instinct of human beings, no matter what color, what race, wherever you're from. It's a natural instinct to want to understand the next person. You walk up on a person with a different language, and they're trying to ask you a question, get some directions. You have an urge to want to understand that person. Yeah. And I don't think by a conscious mind that we use it to manipulate one another. But by conscious mind, it's just that we get into a comfort zone of being able to communicate with someone just like us.
Right,
And we develop ideas with that person because they're just like us.
Come on.
Now, if we can, we as a people, on the other hand, if we here in the Americas, if we can, as a people, can communicate and understand one another, we should be able to move forward because we are talking and communicating with someone who is just like us.
Right.
And those people who don't speak our language, if we show the force that we have, the natural ability to create, not to tear down. We have a natural ability to create, and we have a natural ability to perform. We have a natural ability to lead, and if we can show that moving forward, the ability to create, perform, and lead, people who can understand our language would want to understand our language.
Right, because we would be the movers and shakers.
That's right.
The leaders.
That's right. But as long as we keep self-communication with ourselves, and it's a negative communication, and we're not moving forward, no one is going to look at us as a force to want to get behind or to get with or get next to, because we're the type of people that if we lead, we have the provisions of leading by bringing people alongside of you. We're not the type of people that lead to step on people, to look down upon. We bring you up to a level to where everybody is comfortable.
Right.
So and that's why if we could just move into the next millennium.
Well, before we close this out, though, on the leading part, do you believe that why so many of our leaders in a position to lead, but yet they always get tripped up along the journey? Is it because they too trusted and they don't know who their enemy is? And they so easily to say, come on in, and once they get in, they get coerced to take this gift from this donation. It's going to help out and next thing you know, they on TV and they because they trusted this person.
That's right.
This person was, and they knew, and they got in up under them, and now they destroyed their whole everything, and everybody looking at them like, damn, man, we got to start all over again. Run about them.
And we'll go right back to that. We'll go right back to that 4-letter word.
Fear. But now would we be but they consider us, they say, well, man, that's mean, like Malcolm did in the movie when the white girl asked Malcolm, what can I do to help your cause? Malcolm told him nothing. Kept on moving.
That wasn't mean. That was an absolute truth.
And then
and there's that other word, truth.
True.
That's what we need. If you're not afraid to speak the truth, and not afraid to back down from the truth, you're going to always move forward.
Right.
But when you bow down to the lie and accept the lie, then you're not going to move forward. You're going to create a bomb that's going to destroy your nation.
Yeah. Come on.
You're going to create a bomb.
That's
so
a fact.
what you have to do is be willing to tell the truth when the truth is available, when it arrives. It's always there. Some people say you can change a lie 1,000 times. The truth will only come out once.
That's right.
And I believe that. It'll only come out once, but when it comes out, you got to be ready to accept it.
Right.
And you got to be ready to stand on it.
But like you say, if you got fear, you're going to miss it.
You're going to miss it. You're going to back up.
You're worried about, oh, man, if I
do this and if I do that, who's going to know and how I got it and all that. But the truth is how you got it. How you going to get it and how you going to get others to bring it with you.
I definitely, man, the topic that's being discussed tonight on December 25th is for us as a community and as a people to move forward in this time, especially moving into 2017. This is Verbal Pig Radio. I'd like to thank Brother Black for being on the show and that input, that knowledge and wisdom that he shared with us all on Verbal Pig Radio, because we are everyday people. Before we go, is there anything you'd like to add leading into the end of one era, moving on forward, as you said earlier, the forward motion into another genre of life?
The only thing I would like to add, brother, is everyday people, stand up. Don't be afraid to move forward. Don't be afraid to leave your past behind and create a new future for those who are coming behind you.
This is Verbal Pig Radio. I'm your host, Cole Black, and we out.